In this video, I'll explain why hunger spikes in a reverse diet and what you can do to manage it while avoiding unnecessary weight gain. So the reason I wanted to make this video is because this really takes a lot of people by surprise. And if you don't expect to be extra hungry when your calories are coming up, you can feel like, what is wrong? What's going on here? And it can really set you down a dark path. So I want to make sure you're aware that this is absolutely normal and you should expect it. It doesn't happen to everyone, but at least this way, if you know it's coming, it's going to be easier to handle when it happens. So why does this happen? Because logically, it just doesn't seem to make sense. I'm eating more food. Why am I more hungry than when I was eating less food? Well, when you were dieting, your body actually downregulated things like your thyroid function, reproduction hormones, and all kinds of things inside the body, and it did this to conserve energy. Because of this, your body kind of blunted some of your hunger signals because it wanted to focus more on preserving its energy. Essentially, your survival signals were being suppressed while you were dieting, and once your body trusts more food is coming, it kind of unmutes those signals. So your thyroid starts to ramp back up, a lot of your hormones start to adjust, you start to see changes in your leptin, ghrelin, which is nicknamed the hunger hormone, starts to elevate, and all this stuff is happening because your body wants you to gain this weight back. It does not like when you get below your previous body fat set point. So it's gonna do everything it can to make you more hungry and bring down your mood and drop your motivation levels. And basically when you start feeding it more food, eventually the body goes, yes, I've been waiting for this. Thank you, finally more food. I don't have to starve anymore. Please give me more, give me as much as possible. And you get really hungry. So yeah, it's just a normal physiological response, but it's also not just physiological because it's also psychological. If you think about it, when you're in a fat loss phase, you expect hunger to come up. And you basically go, you know what, I'll deal with it because I want to see the result. I know it's part of the process, so I'll handle it as long as I'm seeing the results I want. But now you take the result out of the equation, you're not trying to lose fat anymore, and it makes it much harder to deal with hunger when you're doing it to basically try to stay the same, so to speak. But also your goal literally becomes eat more food now. It's what you're focused on, and what you focus on is kind of what you get. So when you have the hormone changes making you more hungry, psychologically you're focused more on food. It's like the perfect storm to make you much more hungry, and most people think the reverse diet is going to be the easiest part. It's actually usually the hardest part. So let's talk about some things you can do to try to help with the hunger and also make sure you're not gaining too much weight. One of the best things you can do is, especially in the early stages of the reverse, you want to look at the reverse diet as kind of like an extension of your cutting phase. You need to stay on top of things here. You want to stay diligent. You want to keep eating plenty of nutrient dense foods, keep your protein up, keep your fiber up. I know this can be kind of hard. I know you want to live it up now, right? The diet's done. You don't want to be dealing with all this stuff anymore. But if you're not careful, it gets really easy to undo all your progress. So remember, the time for more food is going to come. Your hunger will settle. You will be able to have way more flexibility in your diet, and you'll be able to live it up a lot more, but you got to make sure you get past this phase first. So stay diligent with your tracking and measuring your food and all the things that you're doing before, and this way in time your calories will get up nicely, you'll be able to keep maintaining your weight, and you'll be in a good position to be able to eat all the foods you basically want. But if you're not careful and you keep overeating, here's what ends up happening. You gain more weight than you want to, so you don't increase your calories because you're gaining weight. But the problem is you feel ultra restricted on these, so you keep overeating, you keep gaining, you keep not increasing your calories, so your target calories are going nowhere, but you're continuously gaining weight. Whereas if you stay diligent, calories will keep getting walked up over and over again. You're going to stay steady. Eventually they're going to get up nice and high, and then you'll be in a good place. So while many people want to shift away from tracking and eat more intuitively, which that's fine, that is a reasonable goal to have, but not right away. You got to wait until things have settled, your hunger has subsided, you're not so food focused anymore, you're feeling much better, and once you're in that better place, then you can start taking some steps to wean off the tracking. One of the more difficult parts when you're super hungry like this is food is almost kind of like the gateway drug to more hunger. Like you might not even be that hungry to begin with, but once you start eating, you are not gonna wanna stop. So it's really important that you still plan out your meals, decide exactly what you're gonna eat, have that meal when you say you're gonna have them, and even though you're still gonna be hungry at the end of that meal, you do not keep eating and you say, I can eat more, but I have to wait a half hour. And by waiting that extra half hour, usually your hunger will have subsided by then, and you're in a good place now, and you don't feel like eating anymore, and you can just keep with your meal pattern. But if you keep eating because you still feel hungry, you will just keep eating and eating and eating, and that hunger signal will not shut off until probably get to the point where you're so stuffed that you actually feel sick. So remember, just because you're hungry does not mean you have to keep eating, and if you sit with it, the hunger almost always goes away. Now here's another strategy that most people don't want to do, but probably should do because it would be in their best interest. And that is increase your calories faster. What I hear all the time after a diet is, I want to take the reverse diet as slow as possible to make sure I don't gain. But what happens is, because you take it so slow, oftentimes you actually even stay in a deficit, you keep losing, you get even more of these symptoms and side effects of lowering your body fat more, and it just like catapults your hunger through the roof. And then again, you end up overeating on it, and you can fall into binging mentality, and now you're gaining that weight you didn't want to gain, but again, you're not getting your calories up. But if you increase your calories faster and it's more realistic, you actually hit your numbers, you're going to gain less weight, get your calories up faster, and your hunger will settle sooner. So don't force yourself to stick to low numbers and slow increases if you're not realistically able to stick to them. I'm telling you, the thing that causes most people to gain more weight than they want to post-diet is by being afraid of gaining weight post-diet and taking it too slow. And also, let go of this desire to gain absolutely zero weight post-diet. It's not really realistic. And also, the first 2 to 3 pounds is going to be all things like water and glycogen returning to your muscles. It's not going to be body fat. If you get into this cycle of just being perpetually afraid of gaining weight, you're basically going to be that way your whole life and you're going to be miserable. So enjoy the progress you make, be happy about it, and understand that weight maintenance is a range of weight and not sticking to an exact number. Now, the two things that probably help the most with hunger during a reverse diet are the two things you probably don't want to hear, but it absolutely is the truth. One is time out of a deficit. Just the longer you've been out of a deficit, the more hunger will finally settle. It just takes time for the body to adapt to this new normal. But also, two, gaining some body fat back is going to be the fastest way to see hunger settle. So no, I'm not saying just go back to the way things were and gain all your weight back. I'm not saying that at all. But like I just was talking about how you don't want to be just so petrified of gaining any weight back. Just a small amount even can really help significantly because you're getting a little bit closer to your body fat set point. So while most people think it's a certain amount of calories that makes me either hungry or not hungry, it's actually not the case. I mean, obviously that's part of the equation, but I see all the time, and I'm gonna give you an example of myself, where you can be on a certain amount of calories and be absolutely ravenously hungry, and then down the road, not at all, even on the same amount of calories. Because again, it's time out of a deficit and gaining some weight back. So back when I did a cut with Paul a handful of years ago, I'd gotten down really lean. We did a cut and then a build from there. And I'm telling you, he got my calories higher than they've ever been and probably ever will be again. I was eating over 400 grams of carbs. I can't even remember. It was like 3,400, 3,500 calories. I don't know. It was a lot. I was eating more food than I'd ever eaten in my life. But I went through this stretch where I was gaining the appropriate amount of weight. So we were keeping my calories the same. And even though I was ravenous, I was hitting my numbers. I still got it done, which that goes back to just staying diligent, whether you're hungry or not. But the thing was, even though I was on those same calories for several weeks in a row and I was ravenously hungry, all of a sudden 1 week, hell, one day, all of a sudden out of nowhere, not only was I not hungry anymore, I was stuffed. I was like so full. I was eating the same foods and I was having a hard time getting all my food in because I was so full. Same amount of calories. Why? Time out of a deficit, and I had gained some weight back. Because remember, I was in an actual building phase, so we were intentionally gaining weight. So I was gaining faster than most people would during a normal reverse diet. But it really lined up because oftentimes we see it takes about as long as you cut to reverse diet and see everything kind of return to normal. This has actually been shown in like case studies with bodybuilders too. Like their hormones actually came back to normal roughly the same amount of time they were out of a deficit as they were in it. And I had been in a deficit for like 20 some weeks and I had been out of a deficit for 20 some weeks and had gained a lot of that weight back as well. And that's when things settled. So I just wanted to stress that if you feel like you're eating a lot of calories compared to what would be normal for you, but you're still hungry, it's actually normal. And that's just another point to be made. Actually, one of the best strategies that can help with reducing hunger, believe it or not, this is gonna seem kind of crazy, but it's true. Just accepting the hunger as part of the process and it's normal will oftentimes make you less hungry. And the reason is because if you're trying to do everything you can to try to stuff that hunger away, and you're eating like sugar-free Jell-O and tons of pickles and like shoveling spinach in your mouth and stuff, like, yeah, these are all strategies that can help with hunger, but it's like by chasing the hunger so much, it's always on your mind. And the more it's on your mind, the more hungry you are. But when you just say, this is normal, this is part of the process, I just have to deal with it, it actually kind of makes you less hungry because now you're not thinking about it all the time. The more you chase it, the more hungry you are. And that's why I really wanted to stress that this is normal, because you don't think it's normal, because why would it be normal? You're eating more food, why would you be more hungry? But it actually is. It's to be expected. Now, it doesn't happen to everybody. I see some people, they start increasing their calories and right away they feel much better. But it's actually more rare than it is to be more hungry. So just expect it, especially if you lost a lot of weight. The more weight you lose in your fat loss phase, the more likely you are to have additional hunger. And this is why I like my lose and cruise method, where you don't lose too much weight and you stop before you've lost a lot of weight to help your body adjust to that new body fat set point, and then take the next phase and you do it in chunks, versus if you lose like 100 pounds all at one time, man, that hunger after that is just gonna be horrible. And this makes it easier to not only reduce your hunger, but also sustain your results. So if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about or how to do that, I'll put that up here and you can check out that video next. Or if you're wondering how to know how fast you should increase your calories in a reverse diet, you can check out this video instead. If you have any questions about anything, just leave them in the comments and I'll definitely get back to you. Otherwise, I'll see you in one of those other videos.